just a few minutes, this is something that we know about the jury so far when it is selected. We do know that this jury will be sequestered, meaning very limited contact with friends and family, and will be away for anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. We also know that this jury will be anonymous. What we don't know is how long they will be anonymous. An anonymous jury meaning at least at the end of the trial, once the verdict is read, their names will not be released, possibly for a period of time, or the judge may rule to seal the names forever. However, that doesn't typically happen. Sometimes they will allow for a cooling off period, considering all the emotions tied to this case. But right now, we do know that they will be anonymous. Mark, quick question for you. We do know there are quite a few people who's going to make up that jury box that you're looking at live on television right now, who say they are ready, there are no hardships, they are ready to serve on this jury and ready to make this sacrifice. Mark, we also know by our courtroom reporter, Amanda Evans, who was in court yesterday, that some of those jurors were visibly upset, like literally had to be consoled by another juror because they did not want to serve on this jury. They made it very clear that it would be a big hardship. It's 40 who's in the potential pool. Obviously, quite a few will have to be cut. How much do you think that's going to play a role as a jury consultant, as an attorney, to decide if someone is very clear, I do not want to be on this jury?
Yeah, that's something you have to look at. I had an interesting thing happen to me just about 3 weeks ago. I was picking a jury on a homicide case. It was a relatively small amount of publicity with it, so it didn't have this type of hoopla, but it's still been in the press quite a bit. And interestingly, for the first time in my career, we got the judge advised us in the morning that 2 of the jurors had gone up to the court, one of the court deputies, and indicated they didn't want to be there even after they had been selected, but we hadn't sworn them in the next morning yet. So we ended up questioning them individually, and it turned out that they were talking about me and they were talking about other things with each other when they weren't supposed to. And I don't think that there's any bad faith in doing it, but the jurors get to know each other, they start talking, and it's really impermissible. So, and we ended up dismissing the entire jury panel. They got stricken, and the trial's been now rescheduled for September. But the issue is that, you know, there are strong feelings with that. It is a big deal, and you really have to make sure that you're going to want somebody on that jury who wants to get out of Dodge. They don't want to be there. So if they're going to be distracted, if they're going to rush their verdict, if they're really thinking about other things, their family obligations, their work obligations, are they really going to be able to focus in? I'm real surprised that they allowed the one woman who was pregnant to sit on the jury. I would have taken odds that at 5.5 months pregnant and seeing a doctor regularly, as she's getting ready to enter her 3rd trimester, that she would have been stricken, but she was not. So, you know, if you, that's why you have alternates, by the way. The reason you have alternates is that in the event something happens, illness befalls somebody, one of the jurors violates some sort of rule that they were supposed to follow and they're stricken, then you have alternates there to take the place. Usually it's 2. Here we've got presumptively 4, and that's really a good idea in this kind of case because there's a real good chance that there's going to be some measure of, particularly if you've got jurors that don't want to serve, that they're going to come up with a reason that they just can't be there, or they're going to fall ill, or they're going to get talked to or reached out to by a family member, or something wasn't disclosed that was later found out, particularly in this high-profile case. So I think having 4 jurors as a backup is a very wise thing. Now, we're not going to necessarily, we will not know who those 4 alternates are going to be. They're going to be thrown into a pool, so there's going to be 10 people up there. And let me restate that the jurors will not know who the alternates are going to be. And so they're going to be, all the alternates are going to be mixed in with the actual jurors, and they're all going to be listening to the same evidence, same testimony, reviewing everything. And then when the trial's concluded, the judge will dismiss those alternates, and they'll just be, they can sit back and watch what happens, but they're not going to be involved in the proceedings.